That one is on me. Got an interview with FBI Director Kash Patel today. We're going to talk about a lot of things: trans violence, Antifa, the national security threats, violent crime, the reforms that went on over there, public corruption cases. We got all of it. But I do want to talk about, opening up the show today, the Antifa threat, because an article came out yesterday, and it's going to describe to you perfectly how the lib commie class covers up for outright criminality. Outright criminality. It's not just that they're covering up government misfeasance. They cover up malfeasance and criminality too. And you'll see in this article, I'm going to put right on the screen, right out the start of the show, how they don't care if you get hurt or anything else happens. All they care about is the damn narrative every single time. I'll ask the director about it later too. Let's get right to it. I don't know about you, but my car basically is my office half the time. I'm always in it. Between commuting for work, driving to meetings, and squeezing in weekend trips to see family, I'm putting some serious miles on the car. The more you rely on your car, the more you start thinking, okay, listen, what happens if something goes wrong with the car? That's exactly why I have Car Shield. I needed peace of mind. Honestly, I wish I'd signed up sooner. Car Shield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, and rental car options at no extra cost. They work with ASE certified mechanics nationwide. Their plans are month to month, and the deductibles are low, which is huge when you're already stressed. They've been doing this for 20 plus years. They protect over 2 million vehicles and boast a 96% customer review rating. Make a decision your wallet will love with Car Shield. Do it today. Car Shield is offering our listeners 20% off with the code Bongino, Bongino, at carshield.com. Visit carshield.com for some peace of mind. Lock in your 2026 protection today and protect yourself from expensive car repairs. Again, go to carshield.com, use code Bongino for 20% off. Nice. Very well done, guys. Perfect timing. So, there's a reason, folks, that the lib commie media class, although I just said the same thing 3 times, wants you to believe that Antifa is an idea. Now, I know you're probably thinking, yeah, they just a distraction. Yeah, of course it's a distraction. It's all of the stuff you're probably thinking. But there's an actual reason for this. I bring this up because I saw an article pop up yesterday at MSNOW, which is what we'll be calling it from now, pun intended, on. MSNOW had this article by the absolutely hapless Brandy Zadrozny, who amazingly has a 100% success rate of failing, which is incredible. That's really hard to do. That's a perfect batting average of failure. And in this article, they're going back again to the idea that Antifa, given the spate of Antifa arrests, is an idea. But there's a reason they're doing it. They want these Antifa folks. Well, let me stop. First, the left has always had shock troops on the street. When you look at collectivist, socialist, commies throughout modern human history, they have always had a group of shock troops on the street honestly to beat the shit out of you if you speak up. That the left loves that stuff. They've always had their shock troops on the street. They've always used violence to shut you up when they can't steal your money through collectivism. The problem they have in the United States is we have federal laws, and states probably have them too, against organizing criminal activity. RICO statutes for racketeering. If you organize to conduct criminal activity in the name of some group, whether it be La Cosa Nostra or Al Qaeda, they can use these statutes. It is not legal for you to organize. You could organize a Boy Scout meeting. You can't organize a freaking terror attack or a rackets operation. You can't. So the left needs Antifa on the street for their shock troop operation, and they love it as an intimidation factor if you speak out against them. And they want to take advantage of all the benefits of organizing: money, social media exposure. Hey, show up on this corner and beat the crap out of some MAGA people. They want to take advantage of all of that. but they don't want to pay any criminal penalty for their shock troop people on the street. So they say, well, it's not an organization, it's an idea. You get it? I say this because forgive me if I'm wrong. Send me the clip. I'll play it if you guys have it in the chat or elsewhere. If anyone else has said this in the media, I don't want to steal their idea. I haven't heard it yet. That's the reason. It's not just the distraction and all that other stuff. Yes, that's true. They want to organize while avoiding criminal penalties for organizing. So the left will come out there and constantly say things like Antifa is just an idea. Again, why did I bring this up? Here's MSNOW, Brandy Zadrozny. She knows exactly what she's doing here with this bullshit here. This just came out. Federal investigators hadn't previously focused on Antifa for good reason, according to this guy she cites, the DOJ's former counsel for domestic terrorism. Antifa has always been construed as more of a politics or an activity of radical opposition to the far right, as opposed to an actual organization. Brzezinski told MSNOW. It's strange credulity, he notes. The headline of his piece is, Trump wants to prosecute anti-fascists as terrorists. This Texas trial will test his power. Folks, in Prairieland, Texas, there have been upwards of, and again, I'll address this with Director Patel later. I was there for this. With that attack, there have been upwards of 20 plus arrests for Antifa-related activity and violence there. The left is freaking out because if the prosecutions and convictions roll through as the process starts to just wrap up on this case, they're in a world of trouble because they're not going to be able to take advantage of their criminal organizations and the use of money flows and everything like that. The president is dead set on cracking down on criminal organizations and acting violence in the street to further some political ideology. Zadrozny knows exactly what she's doing here. The left will cover up any amount of abhorrent criminal activity as long as it advances their cause or scares the shit out of you into silence. I want you to remember this in case you missed it. We played it a couple weeks ago. This was the former FBI director who didn't take this stuff seriously. Putting out there into the political ecosystem, because this was a political bullshit statement to provide air cover for the shock troops. This wasn't a statement. This wasn't a statement from a professional law enforcement officer who knew what he was doing. This is Christopher Wray talking about Antifa, implying that, oh, it's just an idea. This is how we're looking at it. No one's looking at it that way now, not in this FBI. Check this out.
We look at Antifa as more of an ideology or a movement than an organization. To be clear, we do have quite a number of properly predicated domestic terrorism investigations into violent anarchist extremists, any number of whom self-identify with the Antifa movement. And that's part of this broader group of domestic violent extremists that I'm talking about. But it's just one part of it. We also have the racially motivated violent extremists, the militia types, and others.
We changed all of that. We went in there and dumped all of that bullshit stuff that he's talking about now. And we refocused them on these groups that are clearly, I mean, one of the guys just locked up recently, put up that Bill Melugin tweet, had a shirt on, I'm Antifa. No, you're kidding. No, I'm not kidding. You can see it yourself. I thought it was just an idea. And this was the Wray thing you just heard, Christopher Wray, make no mistake, went out there into the ecosystem because it provided air cover for politicians like Joe Biden and others who wanted this air cover because they don't want these people off the street. Here's Joe Biden in the debate arguing with President Trump during their back and forth, again, implying somehow that Antifa is just an idea because they want these people out there. Violence is their coin of the realm. Check this out.
He's got to do something about Antifa and the left because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
Director
this is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa is an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia.
You see what happened? You see how that worked? Wray gave them the air cover to go out and allow them to organize out there. without any of the penalties of organization and organizing criminal activity. Oh, it's not an organization, it's just an idea. Again, I haven't heard anybody explain that before. And over the past year, breaking all that down and looking at it like the organization it claims it is the only way to stop them from preying on innocent Americans and the spate of violence happening with them now. It's not just there, folks. And, you know, what spurred me to talk about this yesterday is this recent episode, again, of trans violence. Another thing when during the past year, I'll address with Director Patel again later. But they weren't looking at this at all. This is a very real and tragic phenomenon that's resulted in all too many homicides and violence, whether it's Nashville, Minnesota, now see, was it Rhode Island, this latest tragic news story. But the Democrats, the liberal media, their commie buddies, and their useful idiots will cover this stuff up. They will do anything to avoid you looking at the problem. They want you to treat a sore throat when you're dealing with a cancer. They don't want you to deal with the problem because the problem, at least in the case of the shock troops with Antifa, is useful for them because it's meant to intimidate you from going in the streets and exercising your right to assemble too. They always needed the shock troops. Their focus on the trans issue and their ignoring of trans violence is a totally different issue. It is a cover-up of criminal activity on their part, but it's for a different reason. Democrats need you and the liberal media need you in boxes. They will create a box. It doesn't matter what it is. Union, non-union, women, man, black, white, Jew, Muslim, Catholic, whatever. They will put you in the boxes and they want you all apart. Now keep in mind, you may not put yourself in that box. You may be Catholic or Jewish or whatever it is, but you just see yourself as an American, a mom, a dad, whatever it is. You practice these things, this religion, but you don't identify as that exclusively. They want you in these boxes. That's why LGBTQIA 1+2, they keep adding all of these categories. The more categories for them, the better. Because then they can put you in a category, whatever that is, LGBTQIA 2+1 spirit, whatever it may be, they're going to tell you how much the MAGA crowd and Republicans hate you in that category. So they need to expand the categories. But when the categories they start to expand start to look like they're causing a problem, i.e. giving cross-sex hormones to kids in the developmental phase of their lives, they can't cover that because then the category blows up in their face.